Alright, so now we're moving over to the arrangement. I'm closing the browser view so we have a bit more overview here in this area. I'm also taking down the device view down there. And actually, if you hit Shift Z, you can hide additional information and get a bit more overview over your project. And now we're going to set up a simple arrangement for an electronic track lasting more or less 3 minutes. And since it's going to be an electronic track, we want to be able to mix into the track from another track. And that's why we have to provide ourselves with an intro where we are basically playing drums, but not too many harmonies or harmonics that could interfere with different harmonies of a different track that we would play with maybe different harmonies of a track we were playing before. So let's go to the front here, and actually we're going to work with locators now. Let's insert another 16 bars here in the beginning. So I'm dragging this area from 1 to 17, and we can duplicate the time, but actually I want to create new time, so I'm hitting Command I. And now we've created some new space here in the beginning, and the only thing I want to play right now or get started with is my kick. So I'm dragging the kick all the way to the beginning. And now I'm also going to add a locator. So hover over this gray area until the mouse turns into a speaker, right click, add locator. I'm going to rename it to intro. And then I'm going to put in another one at bar 9. I'm going to call this one start pad. All right. Opening up the drums group a bit more, we have our shaker loop here. I think I also want to play this one from the start. So I'm dragging it longer. It's nicely looped, so this is all possible. And as we mentioned before, we have this noise recorded down here, recorded noise. And whenever there's not too much going on, you can maybe throw in some noise as well. So I'm also going to drag this longer. In fact, we're probably going to play this noise throughout the entire track, just to have something sitting in the background, giving you this organic feeling. So playing back. Oh yeah, so we can also start with a white noise at the beginning. Take a look at the automations. Yeah, it falls down in the beginning, so I'm copying this part of the white noise, holding Option or Control on Windows. And we can start like this. All right, we also have this blip sound. You remember this blip sound? It's hardly visible here because it's such a short sample, and we're scrolling out, it's hardly visible. You know what? Let's create a clip to have this a bit more manageable. And what we can do is we're repeating it after 2 bars. So I'm just going to make this file a bit bigger, but it's easier to handle for us. Select those 2 bars and right click consolidate or Command J. Turn this into a new consolidated clip right now, blip sound and timestamp. And we can double click and loop it. So now you see it will be much easier to handle this clip, especially when working in the arrangement view. This is sometimes really a handy feature if you have short samples and you're always missing clicking on them because they're so tiny. This will help you out. So dragging this one to the beginning as well. Okay, and still we have this pre-clap here. So let's just put that into the beginning as well. All right, and our drum rack, I'm going to copy this one to the start of the pad, holding Option or Control. And you know what? We are going to make some changes here. It's looping after 1 bar right now. But let's turn this one into an 8-bar MIDI clip. So I'm right-clicking, consolidate, and if we're taking a look at it now, we can add and remove stuff over time here. which is probably what we're going to do. And after starting my pad, I probably don't want to play everything. I just want to play my off hi-hat and my clap for starters. So I'm getting rid of everything else in this area. We're going to build it up over time, have a little bit of a build up here. And also, well, maybe we are playing some claps here already, but let's just see what happens because we need to start our pad. So I'm gaining a bit more overview with Shift Z and opening up the pad sound and dragging it to the beginning here. And whenever you start something like this, you probably want to take down the frequency of your filter. So this one here, start with the automation a bit lower. Let's listen in. Okay, that's way too low. And we definitely have too much reverb going on right now, so I'm taking this down again. Let me try without reverb. Well, actually for now, let's figure out a good reverb setting and get rid of the automation. So if you don't want to automate stuff, how do you do that? You can click on the respective knob and right click delete automation. So now everything is at 39%. Okay, I'm quickly going to close this area down here, open the drums group and select these couple of elements, holding Shift and take them together a bit more so it's easier for us to see our entire arrangement. Now, we have our intro here where we're only playing drum elements. We have the start pad area. And the idea now would be bringing in this pad and then giving it a bit of room here, starting at bar 17. Just adding another locator, not naming it for now. Have a mini break somewhere here, calling it mini break. And then really playing everything we got so far at 33, around 1 minute in. So let's just call this main. So we're starting with a couple of drums, then we're introducing our pad sound and basically chord progression. And we can also start playing our bass alongside. So bringing this bass to the front here as well. Okay, nice. And actually we have this ride element here and you see it's placed at 1 bar before the respective drop right now. And I'm just going to copy this one and use it right before we are starting with our pad as well. So another copy of this one option and moving it over here. So we have Alright, so we have the ride here and the logic will be playing the kick here, playing the kick, well, actually not playing the kick in our mini break. And then we're entering a main part and then maybe we're adding more stuff like our pluck here in the second turn of the main part. And then at 49, 1.5 minutes in, we are going to have a breakdown. And we are not playing kick. We are probably not going to play too many drums and claps and blips. And most probably we'll be just playing our pad at the beginning. So I'm taking everything off. You also see those tiny pieces here at the back. Just taking this off as well. Selecting everything and getting rid of the pluck sound here as well. So we will probably just use our pad in the break. And then after that, we'll probably do something like playing a main part once again. But we'll see about that later. Let's quickly work our way through until we get to this point. So zooming back into this area. All right, so now we're going to edit our pad and we're going to edit the automation of our pad here. We can do this with our mouse over time, just like we did before, or also we recorded this movement of the mouse on our knob in a prior session. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to play through, and I'm going to set up a little MIDI controller helping me to enter these automations. So the first thing I want to do is I have this tiny Korg Nano Control, and I'm going to pop it in via USB. I just did that right now. And going to the preferences, it shows up here, Input Nano Control 2 Slider Knob. And it's connected. If I'm going to my pad now, I want to enter frequency information seamlessly. But first I want to delete everything we have so far. So I'm right-clicking on frequency, deleting automation. And now I need to tell my MIDI controller to assign a certain knob to this frequency knob here. So how do I do this? I'm clicking the knob. I'm hovering over MIDI map mode switch. And I want to map one of the knobs of my MIDI controller to this knob. If you click this MIDI map switch, you see all these knobs you can automate are showing up colored purple. And you see I already mapped it before, but I'm going to do it again. So I want to click on this knob and then turn a knob on my MIDI controller. I could also turn another one. This would be like the 17th knob, this would be the 18th knob and the 19th knob, but I'm turning the one I want to use, and that's 116. And this one is going to be assigned to this knob right now. Turning off the MIDI mapping mode and playing around with the knob on my MIDI controller, this is what's happening now. So let's enter some MIDI information here, playing our pad from the start. And how do we do this? So first, need to make sure my track is armed. I want to work with this track here. And also, we are going to record the movement of the MIDI controller, but we need to make sure we are not recording completely over this. If I would do that, for example, I would start recording now. You see, my MIDI clip goes away. I don't want to do that, so let me undo what I just did, Command Z. And instead we want to add information. This is why we're going to click plus. MIDI arrangement overdub. When enabled, existing notes in MIDI clips in the arrangement will be mixed with rather than replaced by newly recorded stuff. This is what we want to do. We want to mix it with what we already have. And now I'm turning the frequency down to, let's start around 400 Hertz. Okay, and quickly before I'm recording, I'm actually going to increase the view of our pad automation here so we can see in detail what's going on. And actually, if we want to gain a bit more overview to this side, we can also hide our track delay, for example, and our input-output information. And we could also hide more stuff like our return channels and the mixer, but I'm keeping this for now. So let's record some automation here. Okay, so this is our first recorded automation here. And now I'm zooming out. I'm closing down the view a little more here and base down as well. Pad. And let's go on setting up our arrangement. This one is finishing here more or less. And we have a bit more break going on. And then around 65, we want to enter our main part again, or our main part. And we're going to play that main part, and then we're going to have an outro somewhere here. We can actually already set up locators. So add locator main part 2 or drop or something, and then put outro into this area here. And our main part 2 won't be too different from our first main part. So let's quickly copy these elements over here. And actually I'm going to hit A to hide the automations so we can easily manage our clips. And I'm dragging my mouse down from down here up to here and copying this information over here. And now we need to work out some sort of transition in this area here. So what we want to do is take this pad back here. So basically we will have this pad playing here. If I hit A, we can see the automation again. It goes up and then falls back down, and somehow we're going to bring it back up. We can also do this, manually with our mouse. And also I want to introduce the shaker at half of our break. And also I want to play our bass over here. So that's a bit of a harsh throwdown here. So maybe we are going to change this area and just say play the automations in this way. So we have something like that, or maybe even go up here. And when you have such a transition part into a main part, what you want to do is take your white noise and bring it up towards the end of your build-up. So we have something like and our ride needs to be placed a bit more. We have the transient of the ride here before we go into the pattern. So we have and also we have our drums here, and we can maybe use some parts of these drums already earlier here. So I'm copying them over, and let me just use these little hi-hats here. So I'm taking off everything else. And also we can put in this recorded noise here. So I'm dragging this longer. You remember this organic recorded noise. And actually we kind of have room for another maybe arpeggio-like element here, but we're going to take a look at that later, probably in the next session. In this session we're trying to figure out our main grid for the song. And what's left is this outro part here. We also have to set that up, and it won't be too different from what we're doing in the intro. So I'm going to copy these elements from the intro and taking them over here, probably 2 times. And we are still going to play our pad. And we are also, it ends here. So let me pick up another one. Let me pick up this one here in the beginning. And we will bring it down gradually, that's for sure. So maybe like this, a bit less white noise here. And let's listen in. Yeah, this one is too short. And we're probably not going to end on our right, so I'm taking this one out here. So this would be a very basic arrangement layout for a track. We have an intro where you can mix from a different song into this song. Then we are starting out with our pad. Then it builds up even further, then we are falling into some sort of mini break here, opening up our pad again, playing this lead sound. Repeating the pattern here together with a pluck sound, adding a bit more variation to the track. And then we are entering a break part where we're probably going to play another additional element, breaking down, being very minimalistic here with our pad, and then bringing back those drums and shaker elements until we are building up to enter our second main part, playing this one out, adding more elements, and then we're going to the outro. So this is a very simple and also very common setup. And we're also already over 3 minutes here. But over the course of time, of course, we could tweak our arrangement a lot further, enter more elements and, exchange elements or get rid of parts by, selecting them and looping the selections. And actually, I don't need this part anymore. So we're just going to, if we do it right. And remember, this is going to work as an orientation for us. By no means this is the final version, the final product. This is just a first structure helping us channel our creativity while working on an arrangement, and it's perfectly possible to delete or enter other elements later and also delete complete parts or exchange parts or say, I don't need this mini break here, I want to use it somewhere else. But I kind of find it helpful when working on a track to set up a first structure and then go tweaking details, and then maybe finally after coming back after a day or two, figure out that you actually don't want to use this intro part or you just want to start right here with the start pad. So this is completely up to you, but now we have our little basic structure set up, and in the next session we're going to tweak our arrangement. And now we are going to play back everything we have so far from the beginning.